Welcome. This is Melinda Barlow, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and I'm way excited about this lesson. We're working out of the primer book, and we're on lesson 5. And when I opened to this lesson, I absolutely loved the artwork that Maria did. That there's no mistakes, there's opportunities, challenges. She just did a beautiful piece of artwork on that. So I replicated that, and I'm going to show you how I did this this one particular right now, and just how it happens. This is the template that I will have available, and I printed it on brown, I printed it on white, and I printed it on gray. And I am tempted, even though I know it's harder to see on some colors, I'm going to work on the gray because I love how you can add white and different colors to this. I'm going to scan out just a little bit. So it's just available to print on an 8.5 by 11, and then we're just going to embellish this. So to kind of give it that same look that Maria had here, but just a tiny bit different. Well, they're always different. And so the challenge is, well, I shouldn't say the challenge. There's always a challenge in Zentangle, but today's lesson really is about no mistakes, only opportunities. And that's what we say in I love Bijou's little saying in the book. It says that his uncle told him, it was always saying, the only mistake is not to make a mistake. And because I always tell my kids in the library that when we make a mistake, our brain grows. It just helps us develop. And if you haven't watched Carol DeWitt and some of her videos on making mistakes, you can look her up on YouTube also, and she does a great thing about how the brain grows when we make mistakes. And then Bijou goes to say, this is his uncle speaking, do you make a mistake when you mistake a mistake for a mistake? Now, try to figure that one out. Are we making a mistake when we are working on our Zentangle and we think we've made a mistake, but it really isn't one? It's an opportunity. So let's start out. First of all, on this template, I am going to aura around the no with my 01 pen. And if I sped that up and it went really fast, I didn't go that fast. When I edit, I sometimes speed them up just so that you don't have to watch the slow things. But one thing about auraing, if you aura and you're coming down and you need to stop and turn your paper, sometimes I will just leave a little space. And let me scan in so you can see that. Sometimes I will just leave a little space because I can't line the lines up right. But I think that looks good, so I just leave a little space. And then continue to go. And we always want to make sure, you know, when that line is a little, has a little curve to it, it makes it look more like it is hand-drawn. Okay, now we're also going to aura the inside before we start on our little tangle. And if you've got really great penmanship, you could write this yourself. But a lot of people are afraid of, of writing. You know, they just don't think they have good penmanship. So you can print this template out and then aura it. It just kind of helps it look like your penmanship. If you're afraid of that, I'm going to also aura the mistake because I think that mistakes, I think that will help. Okay, but now we're going to do one of my very favorite tangles for when you have something in your artwork that you don't like. that we will say is a mistake. And again, I'm going to repeat Little Bijou's saying. Do you make a mistake when you mistake a mistake for a mistake? So, because this is where some beautiful tangles come about. But we're just going to draw the Bronx cheer. But I'm going to give the stem first because I want to know just about where I'm going to end. So I'm going to do the stem, and I'm just going to start up here at the top, and I'm going to draw a line, and it's going to do the hollybaugh effect, and it's just going to come a little place just above the A, and I'm going to put a line there under that. Now I'm going to aura that, or echo that, so it comes down. And now under the A, I'm going to draw another little line, and this stem is going to come down, and that's where it's going to end. And I'm going to come back and give this just a little bit, just so when I shade it, it will look like the paper has a little rip in it and store. Now I'm going to change pens because I am extremely heavy-handed, and if you look close at my pen, you can see that I've almost destroyed that tip. And so I'm going to change over to my PN pen that has the plastic nib, and I can draw these little Bronx cheers in here, and I'm just going to draw a little circle and then kind of fill it in. And let me come in so you can see. I leave a tiny bit of light sticking through there. I don't want to fill it in all the way. I want to leave it so it has a little bit of the gray paper showing through. And I'm just going to think of making a little raspberry. That's the Bronx cheer, is a raspberry. That needs a little bit more. I don't want that much. And since I'm doing it on gray, I'm going to come back in here and highlight it a little bit with my white Jelly Roll. This is a good size raspberry. One of my favorite fruits is raspberries. And I just said this in class, and I said, one of the things I like is the seeds in them. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill in that little space so that it just gives it that three-dimension look. And now we can come back, and with our Jelly Roll, we want to make sure that that's completely dried, and we can add some highlights. With my little Jelly Roll on there. That's fun. So one of the things, if you do make something that you don't like as you're tangling, and we try not to call them mistakes, opportunities. I just want to round that out a little bit more so it has a little bit. There are several things that you can do. You can fill it in completely in black and then let it dry good, and then come back and add a white Jelly Roll over the top. And I love to use Jelly Roll with on my black. Just look at what you could do here. You could come back and add a little accent onto there. So, and I'm also going to come in and I'm going to use my pencil and shade my little stem. And to make it look round, right here, I am going to put a little oval here and then color that in, and that kind of helps make that stem look round. But we have just endless possibilities here on this template. You could put a string, or you could put a border. I did borders on the ones I taught in class, and we did several different tangles. But it's just a great opportunity to use some of the tangles and try and trust in the fact that there's no mistakes. Only opportunities to change or to build on it. So I'm going to go ahead and outline this, because I think I've got time on this video that I can do that. So I'm going to change over to my pen, and I'm just going to outline, or I should say aura. I sometimes call it echo. Really doesn't matter what you call it. Drawing a line around the outside edge. So we can also do some embedded lettering on here that Maria did. If you don't know embedded letter, look back at my videos. I've got one in embedded letters, but I'm just going to go ahead and do one. Now that I've echoed it, I could put my little, I call these little fescues. You could make these little ends round, but I like to make them a little oblong. That's my favorite way of making fescue. But we have those all around. And then I come back and just kind of give that little, fill it in. I think I could remember which way things go on this camera, but I never can. We're just going to fill in that round spot right there. I like to just sometimes give some rounding. And we could go ahead and aura the whole thing again. But I think I'm just going to put circles and auras, I think, are my favorite. And if they look like they're just kind of unattached, we're going to fix them so that they don't feel unattached. And you notice that I don't make all the little circles the same size. I like to make them different sizes. And then we can come back in and we can now do another aura around this. Normally I would turn my tile so that I get it in a position that's more comfortable for me. And since I did some white jelly roll on that one, I can come back in here and do the same here. Add some little white dots. And I'm using an 08 jelly roll. There is also an 05 that's just got a little bit smaller tip. And I'm just going to add some highlights in my little circles with my jelly roll also. I think that that's fun to do. But you've got to remember that jelly rolls take a little longer to dry, so you don't want to put your hand over the top of it. You've got to rotate. You know, if you're going to right away, you've got to make sure you don't put your hand in that jelly roll, because it just takes a little bit longer than the Sakura ink to dry. But you can see how this is building. Now, another thing that sometimes we have a hard time with is doing, like, you can see I've got this, and you want some kind of of a border. So I'm going to take my pencil, and just like on a tile, I'm going to put a dot in the corners out about, 3/4 of an inch, and I've got a dot. Then I'm going to draw my line, and you can barely see it on the gray paper. I'll try to draw a little darker so that I have my border. And then I can either do a string on the inside, or I can do tangles, or I could do another border, which that's what I'm going to do. I've got one. Now I'm going to come in another 3/4 of an inch or so and put my line, and then I am going to draw another border. I just broke that pencil lead. I didn't think I was that heavy-handed that I even broke pencil leads, but I do. Just picked up a different pencil. And now I have a border that I can work with, that I can do other tangles in. And I'm just going to do a tangle that Maria showed in this chapter, and it was done by Maria, and it is called Munchin, and it was done by Molly, and she was trying to do Rick's Paradox, and she made a stroke wrong. It wasn't Rick's Paradox, and she developed Munchin. And I do Munchin just a little bit different than the step outs, but I'm just going to start with, I'm going to put right on my border line, I'm going to put 2 dots and a line. Then I'm going to put another dot out here. I'm just going to draw lines out to it. And then I can put another dot here. And sometimes you wouldn't think of this as a border tangle. And then I'll just use that dot there that's on that. But I love to just play with different border tangles, or tangles that I could do in a border. And so this is Munchin. And we could morph right into a Rick's Paradox if we wanted to. I'm just going to put another dot out here and draw my Munchin. It's a fun tangle. I should come in so you can see it a little bit better. So we'll just continue to do a little Munchin. You know, we could just work it right up this border. You could put all your dots in randomly first, but I find for me this just works a little better. And now I've got this little space right here. I'm just going to fill it with orbs because I like orbs a lot. And I think I'm going to fill in this space with some orbs because I really just like them. And I'm just going to do random tangles all around the outside of this particular art piece that I'm working on. And I love the fact that there's no mistakes, and if I look like I don't like it, I can give me an opportunity to see what I can do to repair. And hope you enjoyed this lesson, and this great book, the primer, Zentangle primer, is available at my store, and you can follow along with the lessons. Next lesson is lesson 6, and I haven't even looked to see what it is. I've read the book several times. Oh, it's more tangles. So we're just going to explore quite a few more tangles and what we can do to enhance those. And I think you're going to enjoy the lesson 6 coming up. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We have new videos every Thursday. And right now we're doing a series of lessons from the primer book, which is available at my website. Thanks again and have a great day.